right, we're continuing on with fractions, and Noah, we're specifically going to be looking at these 4 pages in math for today. I don't know if we'll get all 4 of them finished before lunch, but we'll do what we can. We might. We'll just wait and see. So we're starting at 459. Let me jump ahead. Okay, 459. Now we know that fractions have to have equal parts, right? When we write fractions, what is that bottom number called? Raylyn? It begins with a D, you're right. It's the denominator. What is it called?
Denominator.
Okay, and that tells us how many parts there are in the whole thing. Okay, the top number in a fraction is called the, do you remember? Right, numerator. And that tells us, you know, like maybe how many parts are missing from it, or how many parts are still there of those pieces. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Fractions are numbers that tell about equal parts of a whole. Circle all the shapes that show 1/3. So go ahead and circle the shapes that show 1/3. Now they're equal parts, so think about that. How many did you circle?
2.
1, 2, 3, or 4? I'm seeing 2, 3. Okay, let's take a look. Does this shape show 1/3 shaded?
Yes.
Are there 3 equal parts in the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is colored in or shaded in?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So do we need to circle that one?
Yes.
Okay, look at this one. Does it show 1/3 shaded?
No.
Well, it does, but what's wrong with it? Jenny?
It's not split into groups equally.
Right. The parts are not equal, are they? So can we circle that one?
No.
No. What about this third one here?
Yes.
How many equal parts are in the whole thing?
3.
3. How many of them are shaded or colored in?
1.
1. Is that 1/3?
Yep.
So should we circle it?
Yes.
What about this one?
No.
But there's 1 part shaded.
But there's 4 parts.
Oh, you're right. There are 4 parts. I can't circle that because that's not 1/3, is it? That one's actually 1/4. Okay. So how do we know that we circled the right shapes in part A?
Because
All of the parts are all of the parts are equal. There are 3 equal parts, and each one has how many shaded? 1 shaded. We're not going to write that. We just talked about it. So how do we know that we're right?
they're equal pieces.
Each one has 3 equal parts with how many shaded? With 1 shaded. Okay, let's look at 2. We've talked about this. There are 2 numbers to a fraction. That number on the top and that number on the bottom. The bottom number is the denominator. That tells how many equal parts are in the whole. So how many equal parts are in the whole here?
3.
How many equal parts are in the whole over here?
4.
4. So that number is our denominator, the number on the bottom. The top number is the numerator. What is the top number? The numerator. And that tells how many equal parts are being described. Like in this one, 1 is our numerator because one part is shaded. Okay, so write the fraction for the shaded part of the shapes you circled in problem 1. Look at 3. You write or name the fraction 1/3. So 1 of the 3 parts is shaded, right? That's why it's 1/3. We say that in words as 1/3. How would you write the fraction 1/4 in words? What would you write first?
1.
Write the word 1 first on part A. The word. They want us to do it in words, 1/4. What do we write after we write the word 1?
4.
4th. So 1/4. So we write the word 4 and then add th to it. 4th. How would you write the fraction that it shows us in B? Look at the fraction in part B. How would you write that one in words? Would you say 1/2s?
No.
1/2ths? 1 seconds? No. What's it going to be, everybody?
1/2.
Let's write that down. 1/2. There's that silent L in half.
Otherwise it's
Oh, I skipped this part on 2. Let's go back up to 2. So the ones that we circled, how many parts are shaded?
1.
1. How many parts are in the whole thing of each of those?
3.
3. So the fraction for those is 1/3. Okay, flip your paper over. Okay, 4 says a unit fraction has a 1 in the numerator. Is the numerator the top or the bottom number?
Top.
It's the top number. It names one part of a whole. Shade 1/4 of the model below. Now, friends, when we do shading of fractions, we always start over here on the left. So how many are you going to color in?
1.
Just 1, because it's saying to shade 1/4. Shade means to do what?
Coloring.
Color it in. Does it have to be perfectly colored? No. So this model tells us what? How many equal parts are in the whole thing?
4.
There are 4 equal parts in the whole thing. That's our denominator. What is the 1 telling us?
There's 1 shaded part.
There's only 1 of the 4 shaded parts. So 1/4 of it is shaded. Look at 5. So we're using that same model, right? Read A with me. Shade 3/4 of the model. Do that. So how many of those parts are you coloring in?
3.
3. 3 of the 4. completed 5, part A. Now we need to complete part B. Read part B with me, everybody. How could you count each fourth you shaded to also name the fraction? Fill in the missing fourths. So we're talking about the fourths that we shaded. And how many fourths did we shade? 3. So 1/4. What are we going to put here? 2/4. What would be next? 3/4. We shaded 3/4. So now, for part C, we're going to write the fraction of what we shaded. How many parts are in the whole thing?
4.
Is that our numerator, the top number, or our denominator, the bottom number?
Denominator.
Okay, so 4 is our denominator, the parts in the whole thing. How many parts did we shade?
3.
So that now is our numerator. Okay, did everybody get that?
Mhm.
Okay, so now, look at part D. How would you name the fraction from part C in words? We have to write it in word form. How would we write this fraction in word form? What is this up here?
3.
Let's write that. When we say this as a fraction, this isn't just 4, is it? It's 3 what?
4.
Let's write that.
Right, but then
3/4. Okay, let's look at 6. We're just going to talk about this one, okay? It says, explain why the denominator, top or bottom number? The bottom number, that's the one that tells us how many units, how many parts are in the whole thing. Okay, explain why the denominator does not change when you are counting by the unit fraction 1/4 to reach 3/4. So you would say 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Why does that denominator not change? Why is it the same for each of those fractions? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Why is the denominator fourths for all of those? Connor?
Because the shape has a fourth, like 4 equal parts.
Right.
So if you shape 3, it's still going to be 4. If you shape 1, it's still going to be 4 because it's still the same shape.
Is he right? Is he thinking correctly?
Yes.
Yes. Because no matter, like he said, no matter if you shade just one of the 4, it's still 1/4. Or if you shade the 3 of those 4, it's still 3/4. Because in that model, there are always, this model right here, how many equal parts are there? 4. It's split into fourths. All right, let's go to our next page. We skipped this one. We left that one in our book.
Did we?
And then we tore out 463 next. That should be the next one in your stack of papers that you tore out. We talked about 6. We didn't write anything down. Is that what you were asking? Yes. Okay, now, I I want you to write the unit fraction for part 1A. Write down the fraction that they are showing you. Think about what your denominator is going to be, and then what is shaded, that's your numerator. Okay, does everybody have 1A completed?
Yeah.
Let's go across the paper to 1B. Shade, what does it say?
Shade.
Shade what? Two parts of the model. Do that right now. Did you get those shaded?
Yep.
Now write the fraction to show what you just did. Okay, you're going to do the same thing for 2A and then read what 2B says. Pencils down for just a moment, eyes looking at the board. Okay, so you're going to write the fraction for what they shaded. You're going to have to shade in a certain number, and then you're going to write the fraction for it. You are also going to write the fraction of what is shaded. So the shaded is what's the colored part, not what's left white, okay? So you're writing the fraction for what is shaded in both A and B there. Do those make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So, no. All right. Let's look at the back side. Now, you're going to have to do some drawing on these shapes, okay? So the model below shows 1/3 of a square. Draw to show the whole square. Now, friends, is this a square? No, it's only 1/3 of it. So are you going to draw the other 2/3 out this way
No.
or underneath it?
Underneath.
Because it needs to end up being what shape?
A square.
A square. How much of it have they shown you? 1/3 of it. You have to draw what? How many more thirds? 2. And then you are going to shade to show what? 2/3. Does that make sense? Okay, so they have drawn 1/3. You have to draw how many more thirds? 2 more thirds. And then how many are you going to color in?
2.
Right. Okay, look at this one. They're trying to trick you again. The model below shows 1/4 of a rectangle. So if there's only one of the 4 parts there, how many do you have to draw?
3.
You have to draw how many more?
2.
No, you have one of the 4. So how many do you have to draw?
3.
3, because you need to get it to show 4 equal parts. So you're going to draw to show what the whole rectangle could look like, and then shade to show 2/4.
Okay.
All right. The next thing. How can you use a shaded model to name a fraction? Let's do this. I'm going to give you an example for this one. You can draw it on your paper, and then you're just going to write the fraction that we show. I think that's going to make more sense, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so create that first. It's similar to this one, except theirs is perfect. right, do you have that created?
Yes.
All right, now we're going to shade in 3 of those parts. Okay, then you're just going to write the fraction over here. You don't have to write the word fraction, but I want you to create the fraction, okay, of what you just created there. If you want to do that right now while your mind is thinking that, go ahead. We'll talk about 7 after you get all the other stuff done, okay? So wait on 7. Don't write this on your paper. Wait on that. We'll do that together, okay? All right, so go ahead and work through the other things.